Thank you so much for being with us. Have some great guests here.
The live stream is on Facebook, on the Africatown Facebook page. If you want to help spread the word, share the stream. The link is in the chat.
Please go ahead and share the stream. I think there's a lot of people who want to hear from these amazing organizations. Shout out to one of our volunteer extraordinaires, Ash, in the building. Great to see you, Ash. Amazing. Thank you, Mr. Chop, Frank Chop in the building. Great to have you with us today.
Former Representative Frank Chop.
Yes, thank you for being with us. Have some great people in the building. Looking forward to hearing from all of the presenters today. Also, we get to hear from our youth later on in the program as well. Looking forward to that. Thank you, Joshua, for being here. UFCW Local 21 in the building. Great to have you with us. Susan, I see you, another volunteer extraordinaire. So glad you're with us today.
Here we go. Thank you, everybody, for joining the State of Africatown 2022. Put your hands in the air for your MC Treyana Holiday.
Oh, John, thank you so much for that warm welcome and that great intro. I'm already feeling the vibes. I'm feeling good, ready to get this started. We want to formally welcome you to the State of Africatown 2022. It is our State of the Union. We have, again, some amazing presenters right here that are representing different organizations and sectors in our community that are doing phenomenal work. And every year, this is a great time to get together, to be able to build upon the knowledge of all those who are working on the ground at this grassroots level and beyond to bring us thriving communities that we want to see. Shout out to our producer, John Chin in the back, who's really holding it down for all of us. He's been phenomenal. And also shout out to my brother, Curtis Calhoun, always such a rock in our community to make sure that these kinds of events happen and we can bring them to you. Also, as always, you guys will be later on hearing from KY King Garrett himself about Africatown and all of the amazing things that Africatown is doing. So again, we welcome you all. Thank you for giving us some of your time on your Saturday. This is, again, going to be a phenomenal event. And it's our first time really having a community setting where we get to hear from our new mayor of Seattle, Mayor Bruce Harrell. So looking forward to his response once he hears all of these amazing updates from organizations. Lots of this work he's already familiar with. So really looking forward to hear from him and get a response. We love to start this off and make sure that we have an amazing first guest speaker coming up to you all to welcome you all into this space and also set us in the history of the State of Africatown. I bring to you now for opening remarks, Honorable Dawn Mason, or as I like to call her, Mama Dawn. Welcome, Miss Dawn Mason.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Treyana. Thank you, Curtis, for making this happen. And Y King is the co-convener along with me of this 9th annual State of Africatown as we gather the African American and diaspora here in Seattle and King County. I just want to say to the Honorable Bruce Harrell, our new mayor, congratulations. We so look forward to working with you. And thank you for being here. You're the 3rd mayor who has attended the African American Gathering State of Africatown event. 9 years. Sustaining an annual event and creating it as something that is an important part of us as we invest in our children's well-being and their future is so important as we go forward to a new normal. Times are different and we must adapt to that difference. And working with a mayor who is willing to work with us is important to all that we will be doing. Our mission, of course, is to shrink the wealth gap. All that we do every day, every decision we make should be toward shrinking that wealth gap, meaning that we must educate our children. That is very, very important. And care for our elders. I welcome all the elders who are here with us. I am an elder of distinction. I am proud of that title as well as proud of being a former state representative. So welcome everybody, our elected officials who are willing to hear us and listen to us as we set policy and go forward. Not only policy, but practices. And it's important for community who are here with us today to understand that you are important. Our elected officials cannot set policies and practices that we are not willing to be self-determined in helping to make. So thank you for being here. I thank everybody. This event started 9 years ago. We record all of our events so that we have a history of where we're going, what we've done. I want everyone to remember that we are on a journey. We are not the journey. The journey was started 500 years ago when our first four fathers and mothers got on a ship that brought them to America. We are not only enslaved in America and still suffer some oppressions, but we help build America. I read an article just recently that said America's undoing of America. That did not include African Americans. We've been building, we've been getting through all that we have faced, and we will continue to get through it. I want everyone to have positive optimism. That means that we believe that we can do this. We can continue to be the heroes that we have been spoken of. We're heroes because we're still here. So with that, I'm going to turn the mic back over to Treyana. That's all that I want to say. Most of the people on here know me. I will continue to do the work. I will mainly continue to pass the baton to the next generations. So I'm going to pass this baton to Treyana. And thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Don Mason. You are doing the work, and we so appreciate your tutelage, your mentorship, your love, your guidance. You are very integrated into so many of the systems that we are building today upon this legacy of Black organizing. So thank you so much for opening us up, setting the tone for us for the 9th annual State of Africatown. Always love and much appreciated. Well, you guys, Honorable Don Mason set us up correctly, but yet you guys know how we have to do for our events. We have to make sure that we are paying homage to all of those that came before us. We're going to go ahead and move into our libation ceremony right now with Javon Bird. Welcome, Javon Bird. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. Hello, everyone. So as mentioned, my name is Javon Bird, but I also have a different name. About 11 years ago, I went to the southwest region of Nigeria and Yoruba land, and I was initiated into the indigenous spirituality called Isheshe. One of the branches of Isheshe is Ifa. And Ifa is the system in which we worship an African deity named Orumila, who's a deity of destiny. We believe in Yoruba culture, though, that in order to accomplish your destiny, it's very important for you to reach out to the elders in your community. It's important for you to remember the elders of the past. That's why we have a word called Egun, which means ancestors. But we have Egun Baba, which is the ancestors of your father's lineage, and Egun Iya, or Yeye, which are the ancestors of your mother's lineage. It's important for us to always invoke upon those two, because those are the great mothers and the great fathers of the past are the reason why we're here today, right? So you're going to hear me use some terminology, right? I'm going to say, and the reason why is because when pouring libation, oftentimes you see us use water, right? And in Yoruba culture, they believe that water has no enemies. Everybody, plants, vegetation, animals, they all need water. So everybody loves water. We also believe that when water pours from the heavens to the earth, it empowers everybody. Everybody needs water in order to move, in order to function, right? So areas that may not have received water for a long time, you see the plants wither. And so water is very important. So when we pour libation, we're asking that everything in this program moves smoothly, that our community continues to move smoothly, that prosperity comes into the community, the prosperity that our forefathers have and our foremothers have worked for, that all things as far as a community that we don't see each other as enemy, but we see each other as as a powerful connection or team amongst each other and form a big body of water, which attracts more and more prosperity. So without further ado, I'm going to pay homage. One last thing. Usually, a lot of times you'll see people pour water into the earth. It's not a plant or a representation of the earth. So I actually have, this right here to represent the earth as we invoke the ancestors. Atiwa yojo atiwa room. Owoduma iba re. Iba baba. Iba ye. Iba uo iba ujubona. Egunda kunda boko vedenum. Egun kove dekun. Egun kove denu de bobara. Geje adiamo mi tutu ni badi in the room bosira ye. Oh mi tutu entire share la geje. Oh mi tutu entire share la geje oh. So now we pour this libation for the ancestors. And we ask that our lives move for prosperity. We ask that Africatown continues to move forward and fight for our community, that blessings come into the community, that healing comes into the community for generational trauma, generational wounds, that we continue to move forward with the strength and the grace of our ancestors, and that nothing that we work for will be kept from us, but blessings continue to flow. Ashe? Ashe? I need you all to repeat after me. Ashe.
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 Be so. Ashe. Thank you all for having me.
Oh my goodness, Javon. I so appreciate you diving into the reason why we do it, the explanation of it all. We so appreciate you for layering us with that history and knowledge and making sure that we are grounded in this event today. Ashe to you, brother. Thank you. Wow, amazing. This is what I'm talking about. And I'm really excited because up next, we actually are going to do another ceremony that we all know, we should know, but we're going to make sure the words are there for those who don't know. We're going to go into the Black national anthems. Feel free to sing along. John is going to play the recording for us now.
Star is fast. God
we go. Unmute myself. All right. Amazing. Thank you so much for playing that for us. And thank you to all of you out there who, even if you only know 5 of the words, you were singing along. We're doing it in community. Amazing. So thank you all for participating, for those who were able. What we're going to do now is I get to bring up my brother, Curtis, who's going to really guide us into the Elders of Distinction Award presentation. Welcome, everybody. Curtis Calhoun.
Thank you for that welcome, Triana. I appreciate it. Peace and good morning, everyone. It's great to see all your beautiful faces. Thank you for being here. Normally, we have Evelyn Allen, a community partner who has for the last 8 years presented this award, but that humble honor has been bestowed upon me this morning. So I'm excited to introduce our 2022 Elder of Distinction. Reverend Mary Diggs Hobson is a co-founder and former executive director of African Americans Reach and Teach Health Art Ministry, a faith-based 501c3 nonprofit organization established in 2002 to respond to HIV/AIDS and other major health issues affecting people of African descent. A graduate of Rhema Bible College, Reverend Diggs Hobson is charged with the ministry of spiritual and physical wholeness by sharing encouragement, hope, and peace. She has dedicated much of her life to social justice ministry, addressing issues of inequities in healthcare. Reverend Diggs Hobson has ministered to the needs of orphans in South Africa, Ethiopia, and advocated before the White House Congressional Subcommittee and conferences for better community-based health resources for people of the African diaspora. In addition, Reverend Diggs Hobson has traveled extensively throughout the United States and worked in such capacities as urban planner, community organizing, and organizational development. Reverend Mary Diggs Hobson has served on the National Network of Libraries of Medicine's Consumer Health Advisory Committee, AIDS Education and Training Center's National Resource Center Advisory Committee, Washington State's Governor's Advisory Council for HIV, AIDS, and the Black Leadership Council on HIV. Reverend Diggs Hobson has also produced 6 videos about the impact of environmental health among African Americans and African communities in King County, Washington. Reverend Mary and her husband, Reverend Lee Hobson, are the parents of 4 sons, 10 grandchildren, and 1 great-grandson. Reverend Mary currently serves as an associate pastor at the Damascus International Fellowship in Seattle, Washington. Will you please help me honor and welcome our 2022 Elder of Distinction, Reverend Mary Diggs Hobson.
Thank you so much, Curtis. Thank you very much for that introduction. And I just want to say good morning to everyone out there in the virtual land. I have to say that I really learn more about what my team and I accomplish when I hear others introduce me at events like this, and it's very much appreciated. I want to thank Africatown and all of those who contributed to selecting me to be a recipient of this esteemed award. I consider it to be really a great honor and a privilege to be recognized by your own community. When I was informed about the award, I had to ask myself, what does it mean to be an elder of distinction? And so I so appreciate my elder, Don Mason, who shared that with me on yesterday. And I also went to Psalm 78 and in scripture that kind of summarized what it looks like to me. And it was about how others assess and measure your life and your legacy, successes and failures. And more importantly, your ability to pour into and nurture generations not only coming behind, but those also who are ahead of us. And so with that, while there is probably, I'm sure, more I can add to Curtis's introduction, not that I want to, but I thought I would use this time to really share what I consider most important, what I have learned to be the source of what I might call my distinction, which is to me far greater than what I've been blessed to accomplish, and is perhaps the essence of why others might consider me as being worthy of an Elder of the Distinction Award. I have lived long enough to answer for myself two questions that we all tend to ask ourselves along this journey. One is, why am I here? That is, why am I alive? Which helps to answer the second, which a two-part question. What am I supposed to do while I'm here? Or sometimes I'm asked, how did you accomplish what you did? And in reflection, the answer is much simpler than what we might think. But it's for me, it's the living it out that you discover takes a lifetime. Simply put, for me, it is to love others and to live it out in relationships by freely giving of myself and whatever is in my power and authority to give. And first of all, it starts for me with the demand in my journey. And it has been a demand that is deeply rooted in my relationship with the Lord in service to others, for which I am eternally grateful. And then the Lord is the anchor of my soul. And he reminds me daily to whom I belong and replenishes me to give. Secondly, starting with my parents and my ancestors, to whom I am grateful for their many sacrifices, and there were many, that afforded me opportunities that they were denied. And they remind me where I came from and launched me into my passion for the health and well-being of others. Thirdly, I am extremely grateful and so thankful for my husband, Lee, and our four sons, Reginald, Ronald, Gregory, and Tristan, who have supported and encouraged me along my journey. They have been with me through the joy and the pain, and to remind me of who I am. And fourth, I hold nothing but gratitude for my circle of friends and community who remind me of who and why I serve. These are the important elements in the source of what I consider my distinction. It is with this in mind that I humbly accept this award and dedicate it to my oldest son, the late Reverend Reginald Diggs, who reignited life in people and places, and was also the other co-founder of African Americans Reach and Teach Health Ministry, as shared by Curtis earlier. So with this, I thank you so much for the award, and blessings to all of you.
Oh my goodness. Amazing, powerful words. Thank you so much, Reverend Mary Diggs Hobson. We are so glad that you are able to accept this award on behalf of community. Your work, your legacy shines through. And honestly, it is because of folks like yourself that we continue in this work. So honestly, thank you so much. Amazing, powerful words.
Thank you.
Much love, much appreciated. Oh, you guys, we are off to a great start on this amazing State of Africatown 2022. I don't know about you, but I'm already inspired. For those of you that are out there representing organizations and doing this work, honestly, it is through the words of our elders that we continue on. We understand the path that was paved before us. We understand the legacies that we are continuing and the ways that we're bringing our brilliance into a larger collective of brilliance. So I'm just amazed right now. I also am really excited because up next we get to hear from some youth. I'm going to bring in my sister, my cousin in community, my cousins for real, Miss Tarasha Thomas. She's going to take us into a now youth presentation. So we heard from our elders, time to hear from our youth. Let's bring in Tarasha.
Okay, thank you, the marvelous Treyana Holiday. All the energy is just prickling through my skin. I'm so excited. So as Trey said, my name is Tarasha Thomas, and I am here to talk about the Watoto Awards and acknowledgements of our youth. For those who do not know, Watoto is Kiswahili for babies, the children, the youth, also known as our young humans and community. Typically, the Watoto Awards and acknowledgements are done during Kwanzaa, Kuumba, the Day of Creativity. And we thought it would be a great fit to add an additional segment to Africatown State of the Union. In doing that, I want to let you know the way that it goes that we strive to have our children and youth around a village that will help create, shape, guide our youth to their purpose and to their gifts. Whether it be working with their hands as seamstress, plumbers, electricians, cosmetologists, our urban planners, business owners, teachers, doctors, architects, and our philosophers, sociologists, and gurus. We have been the ones who are bred the most genius in our community, and we need to get back to that. The Watoto Awards is to acknowledge one way on how we do get back to nurturing and guiding our own. That's to say that there's a saying that says, treat children and youth how you want to be treated as an elder. We all need to be nurtured, acknowledged, and included within our village. And with that, I would like to pass the mic to two of our young scholars, Latricia Jackson and Fenikia Johnson.
Thank you for the introduction, Mom. Thank you, community, for being here. I would like to go ahead and start us into the 2022 Watoto Awards with my sister. And the first recipient that we're going to acknowledge is Prince Spark. He's a 5-year-old. Prince is a kindergarten student. He has made the honor roll at his school. He has excelled in all of his subjects. Prince is a savvy computer game player. He is also kind, caring, loves his parents, and he is an outstanding t-ball player. This youth has a particular interest in science and will love to further his guidance in that area by anyone qualified in the community.
Hi, I'm Latricia, and thank you for having me. This next recipient is Fenikia Johnson, my best friend. She's 16. Fenikia has been the co-chair of the Kwanzaa Youth Committee and has been lead in coordinating meetings for their Kwanzaa night. She is accomplished in altering the linear and often European construct thinking of not only her peers, but adults as well. She has a huge empathetic heart and a true love for planning and a true love for her community. Last year, she was lead in planning and organizing a walkout for her school to spark critical systemic change in the way the faculty handles rape culture in students' learning environment and advocating for oppressed groups of all kinds. She is loved, she is cherished, and we are all so proud of her. This youth has a particular interest in dance and would love for guidance in that area by anyone qualified in the community.
The next recipient is my brother, one of my best friends, Elijah L. Lewis. He's a 22-year-old abolitionist entrepreneur, and he's a special human being. Elijah's interests shine through during his time at the Moja Peace Center Youth Ambassadors. Business, community connections, financial literacy, and action still remain to shine in his role as a community builder with Africatown Land Trust. We have watched him be loving and disciplined, moving more and more towards his goals he sets for himself. Elijah, stay knowing we need to find ways to change the paradigm. Keep seeking counsel from those who have mastered their field and keep making yourself better every day. Stay growing and you will continue to surprise yourself.
Next, we have my brother and co-host, Fenikia Johnson Jr. He is 25, he's a community builder, and he works with young adults. He has a particular interest in financial literacy, resume preparations, entrepreneurial classes, job readiness courses, and would love for guidance in those areas by anyone qualified in the community. Nico has a passion to support other youth who have an interest in building their literacy, like providing opportunities to build their resume. that including teaching job readiness courses, providing employment opportunities, entrepreneurial mentorship, and is interested in guidance that builds others' passions with his organization, Sprout. He has activated his purpose by working in the community as he builds it. Nico is learning how to balance adult life and is understanding the various ways to dance in the rain. He is following his passion in ways that help him expand within himself and his community. Once he puts his mind to something, he seeks answers to move to the next level of his life. He makes us proud. Keep knowing your light is bright, and congratulations for applying and getting into Alabama A&M and Jackson State to learn more about urban planning. We salute you, young man.
Thank you, thank you. And our next recipient is Miles Moses. He's an 8-year-old Black young scholar. So Miles' academic achievements is in arts and performing arts. This youth has a particular interest in martial arts and would love guidance in that area by anyone in that qualified in the community.
Next, we have my little cousin, Marcel J Jones. He is 14, and this first quote is something his mother said about him 2 years ago because he is a multiple-time winner of the Watoto Award. She said, "Wonderful grades, strengthening leadership, kind, love for self and family, improved at doing chores without needing to be asked, excels in basketball, managing being a teenager very well. He has a particular interest in basketball, business, marketing, fashion, and culinary arts, and would love for guidance in that area by anyone qualified in the community." And this next quote is updated from his mother for his new Watoto Award. "I would like to highlight Marcel J. Jones for his commitment to his education and athletic goals. He is a natural leader with a charismatic spirit. He is very intelligent, respectful, kind, thoughtful, and his mother is complimented very often about his leadership and good character. He's been advocating for children and youth since elementary school. He fights against racism and understands equity. Marcel is an all-around good person. He's a great friend. He loves his family and his community. I want to highlight how he is staying the course during this crazy COVID and recent loss of family members, particularly his grandfather, Brother Benjamin. Nevertheless, maintaining A's and B's in school, studying his ancient African history, and being the only freshman to make his high school varsity basketball team. He is a leader in life and on the court. Marcel is a gem in our community, truly loved and valued."
And the next recipient is a lovely Chadir Samir. He's 19 and he's a rock star. A little bit about Shadi. Shadi is a respectful young man going to school full time and holding down a part-time job at Carolyn Downs. He is active in his community, volunteering for community festivals and working with youth groups, helping to learn computer coding and other computer skills. This youth has a particular interest in computer science and would love for guidance in that area by anyone qualified in the community.
Next, we have a 15-year-old Leah Dual. She's some achievements is speaking with legislators. She's on the honor roll and scholar leadership, She also does public speaking. She has a particular interest in public speaking and writing and would love for guidance in those areas by anyone qualified in our community.
And the next recipient is my sister and co-host Latricia Jackson. She's 16. She's amazing. Latricia has demonstrated her appreciation for those she loves, and we witness it in her community building. Her love for Black community is visible in her ideals for wellness and goodness. She is introspective of herself, a great friend and daughter. She follows her passion by applying to projects that she can grow within and has started to focus on colleges that will grow her love for psychology. For mentorship, she has an interest of the mind. Anyone who has deep knowledge in psychology, anthropology, sociology, urban planning, and directing would help support her natural interests. More about my sister, Latricia. There are so many things I can highlight for Latricia. I watched her grow more confident in her being and still be able to have an eclectic friend group where she can be herself. She has become more responsible in her chores without being asked asked or combative, willing to attempt to negotiate with her to get it done in a respectful way. She has excelled in her schoolwork and was a part of a cohort that led out a school walk to protect women and asked for accountability for youth with IEPs, having their contract to learn honored in full. She continues to protect those she loves and is learning discernment of which causes to fight for. Keep blossoming into the great niece, daughter, friend, sister, and cousin. We are proud of you.
Thank you. This is my other little cousin, Azan Johnson. He is 14. Azan is a true protector of his family. He is attentive, kind, and super loving. He challenges you to keep God at the corner of all we do. He has multiple musical abilities and brings joy and rhythm to every room he steps in.
The next recipient we have is Marcel M Jones. He's a 12-year-old. Marcel has wonderful grades and is kind and respectful, has a strong self-image, and he's a great money manager. This youth has a particular interest in culinary arts, business, finances, filming, and editing, and will love for guidance in that area by anyone qualified in the community. More about Marcel. I would like to highlight Marcel M. Jones for his leadership and care for the community. Marcel is a very intelligent youth who is responsible, get good grades in school, and practices great character, particularly integrity. An example of his leadership and care is when he supported a fellow youth and his mother at the 2021 Emoja Fest. Marcel observed a youth in despair protecting his mother, crying for help. Marcel notified his parent, resulting in the family getting needed support to safety at the boy's home. If not for Marcel M. Jones, I am not sure the boy and his mother would have received the cultural care necessary to support the family. Marcel holds the value of taking care of the community with kindness. He carries this value in his leadership throughout many settings. Marcel is beloved and valued member of our community. This award is well deserved.
And lastly, we have another little cousin of mine, Chadir Johnson, who is also 14. Chadir is an inquisitive and caring healer. He is an entrepreneur and is in a higher math level than his current grade. He is always challenging himself to be the best version of himself. Chadir loves to cook and has a special interest in culinary arts. Guidance in those specific areas by anyone qualifying in the community is well encouraged. Thank you for supporting our youth and coming to not only congratulate our elders, but the next generation. Please stay tuned for a Black graduation by following Africatown Seattle on Instagram and Facebook.
Thank you.
Wow. Thank you both. And congratulations to both of you for receiving your recognition in community at the Watoto and through the Watoto Awards. That was just so warming to my heart. Thank you both. As we say here, in community, it's so important for us to always recognize folks that are doing the work. And I so look forward to more youth being recognized in this way. It's a great way for them to understand they're on the right path. And when they are loved and embraced in community like this, so publicly, it's a great addition to the state of Africatown for sure. Tarasha, great idea. And we need to keep it going every year. I love it. Absolutely. Up next, what we have is we're going to be having our community presentations. We're going to be starting with Martha Lucas for the Washington State Coalition for African Community Leaders. Welcome, Martha Lucas.
Thank you, Triana, and the entire hardworking team at Africatown for the invitation to speak today and all that you do every day to keep us in community and sharing space. It is an honor to speak at Africatown 2022. I must say that I always enjoy stepping into Black Dot to see the G House represented, Bulldog for Life. The theme of this year's State of Africatown is African American African Gathering, which is a topic we could talk about for weeks, but I'll hone it down to just a few things to consider and ponder. The most watched group in America is not foreign terrorists, it's us. Black people are the most feared group in America, and we know that. As survivors of abuse understand too well, the most lethal weapon of the oppressor does not lie in their hands, it lies in our mind. Pitting Africans and African Americans against each other serves no one's purpose but those who gain the most from our separation. If I see my brother and sister as an enemy, I will never work with them to build Black better in creating anti-racist schools that teach youth of all races how to have pride in yourself and be productive leaders and activists. If I see my brother and sister as the enemy, as my enemy, I will never build Black-owned health centers that use our ancient healing practices to cure our ailments that will heal our bodies and our minds. If I see my brother and sister as my enemy, I will never work together to tear down the systemic barriers that keep us from building community wealth. If I focus on what differences we might have, light versus dark, native versus accent, loud versus soft-spoken, I will not see how we can use our innovative spirit, resourceful resilience, and ancient traditions to solve our community problems. We come into this world dependent on someone else, and we leave this world dependent on someone else for survival. Yet we have moved far away from the ancient practices that kept us knowing of this need to work together to stay connected, healthy, and alive. During our time here in this shared gathering virtual space, I urge you to think about who benefits most from us not giving each other grace and taking misinterpretations as all Africans or African Americans feel this way about us. Ask more questions like, where did you grow up? When was the first time you met someone not from your village or your neighborhood? There is a lot of wisdom we can learn from each other that will allow us to grow together and not keep us separated. As a Seattleite raised in America since I was 2, but raised by African parents from the same small village in Tigray region of Ethiopia, I didn't have the same childhood experiences of many of my American peers. Yet I chose, and I continue to choose, to see the positive in our differences, because it is that what makes us unique, while also connecting in the ways that keep us similar, that we are similar. Please visit us at wscacl.org and become a member of the Washington State Coalition of African Community Leaders. We have committees that are run by African descent community members that are looking to find community-centered innovative solutions to wealth inequities, youth disempowerment, access to quality education and healthcare, and preserving our culture and heritage. We look forward to finding ways the Coalition in Africatown can continue to partner together in 2022, demonstrating through action and a commitment to building Black better. Keeping in mind the African proverb that 2 spiders working together can take down a lion. Please like and subscribe on WSCACL and on Instagram and Facebook. And I think the information for joining as a member is already in the chat, and I give it back to you, Trayana. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much. Okay, let's see here. There we go. Thank you so much, Martha, Washington State Coalition of African Community Leaders. You guys are doing phenomenal work over there, and we always love hearing from the work you guys have going on. Love to know that it's still open and people can join. It's a great invitation, you all. For those of you that are interested, please check them out at the website. The link is also in the chat. Thank you so much, Martha. Up next in our community presentations, we have Jim Buchanan with Washington State African American Cannabis Association. Welcome, Jim. We also have Daryl Powell, who is the Vice President of Economic Development at NAACP Washington State. Welcome, both of you. I know you guys have a presentation. I'm excited to dive in because I appreciate the work of both of you, brothers. Welcome to the State of Africatown 2022.
Well, thank you very much. And we want to thank Africatown for everything that you do in our community. We have an important issues that in the cannabis space that we want to discuss with everybody and share information. And there are opportunities that we are advocating for coming up about licensing and also the community reinvestment program.
So the community reinvestment program, right now going through the legislature that started on January 10th and ends on March 10th. Washington State Cannabis and the NAACP met with the governor and his staff, and we, quote, demanded $250 million of the marijuana revenue that's generated, which represents 50% of the marijuana revenue every year. We demanded 250 million and we got 125 million. And so this sheet here shows you that there's two bills working their way through the House and the Senate. One is House Bill 1827, and its companion bill, meaning it's the same thing, is Senate Bill 5706, is working its way through the Senate. So there's a process that I won't go through, but at the bottom of this page, there's a link that you could click on the link and you could read the House bills more in depth. But the point being is this is 125 million annually that's going to be put in as a line item in the budget that will be used for, I'll be specific, economic development, civil and criminal legal assistance, grants and loans for small businesses, reentry programs. So this is going to be a statewide program. So we'd like all of you to take some initiative and click on the link below and go read more about these bills. That's the reinvestment side, but there's also a licensing side. And I'd like to refer to Jimmy at this time.
Yes, thank you, Daryl. The licensing side is we're underserved with approximately 1,840 licenses. About 11 of them have African-American presence on it. So we've been demanding equality for retail stores, for producer processors, and for also new license types that'll be coming out. So we have a bill that is HB 2022 that it reflects 300 retail licenses for 304 retail licenses distributed by 38 a year starting this year through 2029. And then also 25 producer processor licenses distributed every year between 2022 and 2029. We also have a economic piece in the bill that says that $15 million a year will be issued to the licensees for grant money to get their stores open, and $7.5 million per year will be for low interest loans, and $1.1 million for technical assistance. When we're also advocating for the distance buffers to be changed just to 500 feet for schools only, for social equity applicants. So we also have information that Daryl will explain to you. We have a hearing coming up on this Friday, and Daryl will give that information. And we would like everybody to join us and join in on the hearing, and for public speaking and signing in.
So how you can help. This page is small, and I'm hoping that they can get this slide deck out to if they could post the slide deck in the chat where everyone could actually print it. But this page is essentially how you can help. At the state level, at this point, you can either sign in to testify on the behalf of the bill or sign in to say you support the bill, but you don't testify. And so what we're asking the bulk of the folks on this phone call is to sign in, register for the bill, and sign in for PRO, that you support House Bill 2022, and you support that there's social equity in cannabis. So again, I'm hoping they post our slide deck in this, and I will also put the link to where you could just actually go in, sign up, hit PRO. That shows the state that it's not just Jimmy Buchanan, Africatown, Elmer Dixon, Pastor Anderson. These are all the people who are on the phone calls in the fight every other week, but it shows that the community is behind them. So we're asking you to do that.
Yeah, along with Joaquin and Africatown, they've been huge advocates,
exactly,
for our movement during the last year.
Right. And so the next is just my advertisement of the NAACP, Alaska, Oregon, and Washington State. Our mission and vision is the same for our local branches. I encourage you all to join your local branch. We have 7 branches throughout the state of Washington. Most of us are known, the 3 on the I-5 corridor or the 4, Snohomish County, King County, Pierce County, and then I want to say, is it Clark County in Vancouver? But we have 3 others in the state of Washington. We encourage you. There's a lot of things we're actually doing that you don't see, but this is one of those visible things in terms of community reinvestment dollars and cannabis license that the NAACP is turbocharging these initiatives that are being brought by community organizations. And the last page, just who we are. If you have any more detailed questions, feel free to contact Jim or myself. We'd love to opine on what's going on. Thanks so much, Triana, for allowing us today to present this to the community.
Amazing, amazing. This is some work that I've been following. Shout out to you, Mr. Jim Buchanan and Daryl Powell, both of you, for really championing this work. And I gotta say, Mr. Buchanan, I heard you on some community calls. I mean, you were not stopping with those first recommendations that came out of the Cannabis Equity Task Force. Just appreciate you for pushing through, listening to community and knowing that we definitely needed more. And so that's a huge win for you. And I would love to connect with you guys later because we want to make sure that more and more people know about the opportunity to be on that call and to make sure their voices are heard. So thank you guys so much for leading this charge. It's phenomenal.
Thank you. It's
So
for the
needed.
community.
Yes, so needed in our community. Thank you both. Wow, I'm inspired, y'all. Very inspired, and appreciate learning so much, because when we are all doing this work, oftentimes we don't get the time to make those touch points and understand where all the work is happening in community. And so amazing effort there. I've just been following it. So I just love hearing all of that. Up next, we have my sister in community. She is out there at an event right now, but she said this is too important to miss up. So excited to have Ine Abby with Tubman Center for Health and Freedom joining us up next. Thank you so much, Ine, for being here.
Yes, thank you. I feel like I'm eyewitness news here on the scene, right? Community in action. Thank you, everybody, for having us. Shout out Africatown. As Triana said, my name is Ine Abby. I'm the CEO of Tubman Health. We are a community-based organization right here operating in King and Pierce County. We are here to deliver clinical care as well as address the systems that are making us unwell. And so today we're actually having a community clinic right here at Rainier Valley Leadership Academy. So I'm actually standing outside of the clinic right now. We'll hop in and show you a couple of our team members. Because of HIPAA, I can't show you any of our patients, but happy to show you community in action. It takes a village, and our village is organized and ready to take this. If you can hit the next slide, please.
There you go.
Thank you. Some of the current projects our team is working on right now, Blacksinate, that's where I'm at. So our events, I have a Blacksinate mask on. Really for the past year and a half, we've been distributing PPE, organizing our community health workers, as well as getting vaccinations to the community. In partnership with our Elder Don Mason and the governor's office, we are actually getting tests coming to community this week. So we'll add testing to our community efforts as well. So that's Blacksinate. And I'll show you a lounge in action now. Also, Well Us. Many of us know data is used against our community, but our community knows us the best. Community knows best. And so we've been doing our Well Us research studies to uplift local underreported solutions. And that's what Well Us stands for. And so for us, it's really about coming together, mapping what it is we need, and delivering what we need. In addition, our partnership with Rainier Valley Leadership Academy, we are launching a school clinic this September. So we are co-designing with the over 250 families and teachers and staff here at RVLA to open up a clinic, a mini clinic right here to serve this community. Our goal is to establish a flagship premier Black-owned, Black-led, Black-serving health institution And so we are doing that in partnership with the Legislative Black Caucus. I see Chair Taylor. What's up, Chair Taylor? And our champion, Representative Kirsten Harris Talley, as well as our key supporters, Senator Saldana. Let's see Frank Chop on here. What's up, Frank? So it's really key for us to really click up our communal networks with our institutional networks to make this a reality. So for us, Tubman Health, let's open it up 2025 right here, right now. As we're doing services, we are a clinic without walls. However, that has never stopped our community. We're here doing it. I'm about to put my mask back on, show you a little bit of our team in action. As I said, we're walking into Rainier Valley Leadership Academy. Show you our welcome team. I can't show you the patients, but I'm gonna pan over here. What's up, y'all? This is State of Africatown right here. This is the Tubman Health team. I actually think some of your family members are right here. Hi. That's Dawn Mason's daughter right here, one of our nurses in action. Hello. We got Treyana Holiday's cousin right here, leading our welcome team. This is also for us really a time as our ancestors have bestowed upon us to use our knowledge and our wealth to really bring it to the next generation. So we also have young people involved. We have a table in here where young people are designing what a healthy future looks like. And
wow.
There you go. That's your live.
There we go. Okay, there we go. Just making sure. Oh my gosh. Now this is what I'm talking about. Ine, thank you so much for being on the scene and bringing us to where you are. Thank you for all of the work you and the team are doing with these amazing Blacksinate events, making sure our people are healthy and being cared for in a way that only really we can provide. And shout out to this amazing connection between Tubman and RVLA, two of my favorite organizations out here doing amazing, phenomenal work. Thank you so much, Ine, for that presentation and for bringing us into the environment. Amazing. You know what, you guys, it really gets no better than that. And normally we do this event and we're all at Langston Hughes, so we don't get the opportunity to be on the street like that and hear from people that are out in community doing the work right now today during the State of Africatown. So that was warmed my heart as a media person. I'm just like, yes, be out there on the scene. So thank you so much again, an amazing connection. And that brings me to our next community presenter, my sister in community, Bayon Coleman. You know how much I adore you. One of my Garfield grad sisters, also went to Howard, both of us, but go Bisons, go Bulldogs. I'm here with it all day for you. Welcome, you guys, the CEO of Rainier Valley Leadership Academy, Bayon Coleman.
Thank you so much, Trey. First of all, I want to thank our community for coming out and for being able for Africatown to even have this type of event where we can actually share what's happening in our community. In order to support racism, we have to be divided. And so the fact that we can come together is really important and is already one step against eradicating racism in our communities. I also want to just take a second to thank our elders, Dr. Maxine Mims and Elder Don Mason, for their tutelage of me directly, as well as another elder who has passed on, Beverly Menace Washington, who was my mother, who was also a Black Panther and a legacy educator, to really support this work that we're doing today. Rainier Valley Leadership Academy is a middle school through high school, so 6th through 12th grade. We are the only Black led charter school in Washington State, and we're the only anti-racist public school in Washington State. Our vision is really that RVLA is an anti-racist collaborative community of critical thinkers focused on dismantling systemic oppression through scholar leadership. And the way that we really think about doing that is by ensuring that we fulfill our mission through ensuring scholars are college and career ready, by providing an anti-racist education, opportunities for collaborative problem solving, and community leadership experiences. And so we have, when we think about our vision and mission, we really think about that as like our blueprint. And then we really think about our pillars really as our foundational practices, and our foundational practices, our foundation, if you will, based off of those pillars is leadership, anti-racism, and collaborative community. The mission of this school has gone to, I could get into the history, it would take too long, so I'm not going to, but what I can tell you is that community came together to take back education for our scholars, to take back education and to take back our children within our Black community. So we had the opportunity to sit down and really discuss what we want RVLA to be. And this is the brainchild of community. And I think that's really important for folks to really understand. And it will continue to be the brainchild of community and owned by community, regardless of who sits in this position as a CEO. I want to also discuss some of the successes that we've had, which are huge. We have had, we had a goal with the commission of 10% of our African-American males actually growing within their NWEA MAP test scores. And we actually saw 50% of our African-American males growing. So we exceeded that percentage by quite a bit. And then we had a similar goal of 10% for our African-American high school males to be able to grow from the low average bands on their NWEA MAP test. And we saw 27.5%. The reason why that's important, a little bit of education for our community is a lot of times we hear NWEA MAP scores as a growth. And what's important is that the test is designed for you to meet growth. What folks don't dig into is those low average bands to actually see if scholars are actually moving out of that area. So you can have growth and you can still be in that lowest band. So this was a really big deal for us when we were completely remote and being able to do this work. Another huge success of our community is really around the fact that based off of being our own school and being our own district, we can now funnel money back into community. So we use the different businesses, many of them that are on this call today, to ensure that like we're using Black radio stations, that we're using Black advertising, that we're using Black printers, et cetera, to be able to take the money that is being funneled through our organization by community back into community to really think about how we eradicate the wealth gap as well as the education gap within our system. One of the other things is that we're doing currently is as you saw with INA from Tubman Health, shout out to my sis over there, doing this work, we are bringing in a clinic within the school so that we can actually support our Black and global majority teachers in-house, as well as our community, because our community is 96% global majority, with over 76% of those being Black. So by bringing healthcare to them, we can make sure that we begin to eradicate a lot of these ailments that are happening within our community based off of health. Another thing that we're currently doing is supporting Black and global majority teachers to get their certifications. So if there are educators who want to work in the education space who need support with that, please do come into our space and apply at myrvla.org. And then the other big shout is that we need for folks to actually vote. We need for folks to vote for policies and laws that support our Black communities. We have a lot of our legislators, senators, and mayor here today, which shows you that they're listening and that they want to be a part of this work. And we need to support them in this work by making sure that we're going out to those polls and doing that. We need to begin to influence legislation. We need to eradicate systems that were never built for us. And we need to begin to innovate on new systems that center our Black American descendants of the enslaved, as well as our Indigenous communities. One of the ways that you can do that is by voting for House Bill 1591, which begins to equalize funding specifically for charters. One of our biggest school districts here in Washington has been around for 154 years. And so when we think about that, we know that that same system has also failed our African Americans and our Black communities specifically. It's time for us to begin to recognize the power of our collective community and begin to put trust in our community. Malcolm X has a quote, "Why when all of my ancestors are snake bitten and I'm snake bitten and I warn my children to avoid snakes, what does that snake sound like accusing me of hate teaching?" We can no longer wait another 160 years for these systems to fix themselves while our children are becoming the sacrificial lambs in those systems. We need to begin to take urgent action. We need to begin to continue to build more schools like RVLA that are anti-racist and are Black-led, so that we can begin to take back education for our children, and we can begin to take back our children and heal their spirits and their souls. We need to do this as a collaborative community, and we need to do this as a collaborative school. So if you would like to apply to RVLA, you can see, this way, our website is there. So you can enroll your scholar from 6th through 12th grade. So if you have a 5th grader, you can apply now for next year. And in addition, we're going to be looking to expanding to elementary school. And that's going to be really important, because then we can get our children before they've been harmed in these other education systems, to really allow them to be cultivated and successful, so that we have that many more scholars who can be honored here at Africatown for the successes that they truly are. Thank you. Pass it back over to you, Trey.
If you don't always make me go, that's what I'm talking about. That is what I'm talking about. I have had the pleasure of working alongside you so much in community, and every time you speak, I go, that is Black excellence, an amazing example of exactly what we're talking about here today, and always brings a fire to my soul. Bayon Coleman, my sister, love and appreciate you so much, and always rooting for RVLA and the pedagogy that RVLA is bringing, but the approach to community and caring for our scholars in a way that other institutions just are not. It is leading the charge. Thank you so much, Bayon. Appreciate you always, sis.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Everybody's in the chat going crazy. I just gotta say, because you bring something that is phenomenal. And I'm excited because this work and this phenomenal nature is going to continue. You guys, I get to bring in my brother in community. I get to work with him and see his brilliance all the time. Mr. Isaac Joy of King County Equity Now is joining us right now to tell you guys about some of the phenomenal work that King County Equity Now is doing. Welcome, Isaac Joy.
Thank you. Thank you. It's such a pleasure to be here today. Greetings, community. It's so great to see so many of our ecosystem organizations, partners, community allies, family here today. The State of Africatown is always a special day during the year where we come together and convene, share, celebrate, and strategize. For those that don't know me, my name is Isaac Joy, and I'm the president of King County Equity Now. King County Equity Now is a pro-Black organizing and advocacy nonprofit focused on developing liberated Black communities that own and control the resources that impact Black lives. Our mission is to close the racial wealth divide, which entails bringing in billions of dollars into the Black community locally over the next 5 years. Much of our work in 2021 touched on many of the projects and organizations that are presenting here now, including Banu Community Homes, Africatown Plaza, William Gross Center, Tubman Center for Health and Freedom, Elizabeth Thomas Homes, East African Community Services, Family Empowerment Center, and so much more. We helped secure over $200 million of direct investment into the Black community last year. Our work is grounded in the theory and understanding of racial realism. Racial realism is the understanding that the Black community is not incrementally, slowly by, decade by decade, generation by generation, moving towards equal status, equality, equity. That is a false myth. And if you actually follow a number of the most significant data points, they'll showcase that the Black community is not on a path to convergence, they're actually diverging. And so that understanding grounds all of our work, because we are created specifically to disrupt racial realism. We're here because we want to see the Black community in a short time period gain equity, gain autonomy, gain ownership over the resources that impact our lives. And so when we choose and we get behind projects, that have the possibility to have dramatic impact in the Black community. projects like Community Homes, which is the first of scale Black homeless shelter in Washington State, will be serving upwards of over 150 Black males, or supporting the Tubman Center for Health and Freedom, which will be the first in-state really Black federally qualified health center or hospital. We're looking forward to 2022. I would just say, as I end, for any Black organizations here, we are here to serve and advocate and to build your power. So we're already connected with, most folks, but if you're a Black organization looking for advocacy, looking for to secure land, to secure resources, please reach out. And then finally, I would say that we have, while 2021 was very big for us and the community, our goal is for Black communities to be thriving, and we have a long way to go to get there. That said, we have some really, really big projects lined up in 2022 that I'm sure will become very high profile for everyone in this room very soon. But I will say, though, that I'm glad to see Mayor Harrell here. I'm excited about the opportunities that those in this room have created to advance the Black community forward, that really are just teed up and lined up for the type of support and investment that we've always needed. I'm thinking about, we can talk about different projects, but these projects will be lifted up. And so I think Mayor Harrell will have a real critical opportunity to fight the devastating gentrification and displacement and violence taking place in the Black community by really investing in these projects being presented here today. And one that I'll lift up just, because I think it'll be pressing and coming forward quickly, and something that we've been advocating for 2 years, is Red Barn Ranch, which is 37 acres owned by the city of Seattle, that we've been advocating for over 2 years to be transferred to Nurturing Roots, to be activated for Black agriculture and farm space. This is an advocacy that community members have tapped in on for over 2 years. There's been over 10,000 actions, emails, et cetera, really community galvanizing around the activation of this space to further close some of the equity gaps in the Black community. And I think that is an opportunity where it's been stagnant. The land has been vacant, and we have community members that have plans and resources, architectures, funding, et cetera, to activate and make use of that space. So that's 37 acres. We know there's a dearth of certain assets in the Black community, and I would lift up that project among other projects that we'll be lifting up. But that one specifically, I think Mayor Harrell could play a role in activating something that's pretty much a slam dunk project. So on that, I'll pass it over and thank everyone here, and really excited to be at this State of Africatown.
Thank you, Isaac Joy.
I'm muted. Wow. Thank you so much, Isaac, for bringing us into the work of King County Equity Now and laying out some of the things that people can be doing right now to be engaged and be involved. Just amazing, phenomenal work. And I'm really honored that I get to be a part of that work in the ways that I do, just to be able to amplify and advocate for our people and really showcase, again, these opportunities that the greater community has to connect and dive in, because it's really on you all, right? All of you who hold elected officials accountable, who are going to legislators and saying exactly what you need, who are working through community organizations to uplift and support campaigns of their needs. It is through the community that we get these things done, and Collective Power has always done that. A great example of that from all of these organizations, and really appreciate Isaac for bringing us into some ways that we can stay engaged and involved and see these things through to the finish line. So thank you so much for that. Up next, oh yes, my assistant community, Jennifer Ness Tucker. Oh my gosh, Black-owned business excellence group. Jennifer Ness has done so many things in community with regard to Black businesses, uplifting them, being a mentor, being a speaker, showing them the way. Welcome so much, Jennifer Ness. So great to see you here with us.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm waiting. Oh, there I am. Can y'all hear me? Everybody hear me? Okay, it looked like I was muted. I didn't want to, I was like, wait, I'm waiting on to be unmuted. Sorry, I wasted 10 seconds. Thank you so much. This has been amazing already. I'm so excited about everything that Africatown and Black Dot is doing and the partnership and the collaboration that's taking place. I see so many folks on here that I recognize that is just making me happy this morning. I woke up, I was like, yes, it's Africatown Day, baby. Let's go, okay? So I'm excited. One of the things that I wanted to say to you all, everybody in the chat, we're talking about the state of Africatown. So at this point, I have the opportunity to talk about the state of Black-owned businesses. So if you could just say one word in the chat, what is the state of Black-owned businesses? In your opinion, what's one word? One word in the chat, just type it out. Okay, Tracy said blessed, love it. Elevating, opportunity, rising, growing, excellence, historical, powerful, empowering, power, more, thriving. Oh my goodness, this is what I'm talking about. What are the needs in our community? I see the words are keeping on rolling, so keep on rolling. As you are thinking about it though, I wanna know, what are the needs in our community? I wanna hear from you all. What are our needs? The needs are funding. Been looking forward to this. Prosperity. We need youth employment. We need unity. We need cash money. We need connections. We need technologies. We need accounting. We need funding. We need partnerships. We need collaboration. A whole bunch of dollar signs. We need our own space. We need technology. We need marketing. This is what I'm talking about. So Black-owned business excellence has come together to address those needs. Last year in 2021, what we did was we put on 7 events. We gave out 5 scholarships to 5 different small, most of them were startup businesses, because we're addressing these needs that you all put into the community. You put in the chat right there, you said these are the needs. And so we came together to address those needs. So it's about 24 of us. We meet every single Friday. We meet every Friday at 10 o'clock to talk about the needs in our community. And then we don't just look at them and say, oh, these are our needs. That looks cute. Oh, that's amazing. No, we look at those needs and we develop programming around those needs. And so this coming February 1st, to kick off Black History Month, we are having the 3rd annual Black-owned business symposium. Let me tell you a little bit about that symposium, okay? So I can see that there's a lot of politicians on here, a lot of political officials. I don't know what to call them. I'm sorry. I think politicians might be offensive. I don't know. But my point is, these folks are going to be a part of the program. And we're excited that they're going to be there, because guess what? They putting their money where their mouth is, right? So they are supporting this. We just started. We don't even have a charter. We came together, we meet, and we talk about the needs, and we talk about the gaps in our community for our people, for Black-owned businesses. And we go out and we say, hey, you said you want to help Black-owned businesses. What you doing? Where your money at? Send us a check, okay? Cut the check. So they've been cutting the check, and we are excited about it. So this year, we're going to do the same exact thing. We have an all-day symposium. It's going to be amazing. I'm telling you, we have so many folks lined up to feed into your spirit, feed into all of these needs that you all addressed in the chat. So we have Mr. Roy Clay Sr., and some of y'all probably don't know who he is. Look him up. He's amazing. You know, they call him the Black Bill Gates. Okay, so this man is doing things in tech. He's 90 years old, so he's going to come and talk to us with his sons, helping him to support us. But we have the mayor of Tacoma. We have all these representatives, state representatives, U.S. congresswomen. We have some amazing folks. But then at the end of the day, we are giving you the education that you desire, okay? So we have some training set up, 4 different trainings, 3 different time slots, where we're going to talk about marketing, access to capital, putting money out in the streets. We have some grant opportunities. All you have to do is register. I put the registration in the chat, but I'm telling you, everything that we need, there is a solution. The only reason why we still have the needs is because we haven't sought out those solutions. And so that's why we put together a community calendar. It's at bit.ly/Bobby 2021. There's a community calendar there because most of the reason why we don't know what's out there is because we don't know where to find it, right? It's the access. So go to the calendar so that you can know what's coming up, so you can support the businesses that are supporting you. And we're going and we're saying, okay, Economic Resiliency Fund, you said you want to support BIPOC businesses. When they say BIPOC, y'all, all I hear is Black. I don't care what nobody else say. I'm like, you said Black owned? Okay, let's go. Where the money at? Okay. So I'm like, listen, if you for the Black owned folks, if you're for Black owned businesses, that's who we want to talk to. So I'm excited. I don't want to take up any more time, but I'm just saying, listen, y'all about to hear from Mr. Rudd, who I'm excited about what he's doing in our community. Y'all about to hear from Mr. Brina Jackson Gandy. So I'm gonna shut up. So y'all have the information in the chat. I'm excited. I'm always excited. So I ain't on no drugs or nothing. This is just, life, okay? I'm excited about what's going on in our community and about helping our folks to get what they need. So if you have a need, put it in the chat. If you still have that need a year from now, shame on you, because the resources are out here and we're making sure that you are being connected to them. All right. So y'all have a super awesome day. I'm excited about Africatown. Let's go, baby. We are royalty, okay?
Royalty. I'm telling you, Jennifer Ness Tucker. Oh, Black-owned business excellence group doing phenomenal work. I've just seen you doing it and being consistent. Also leading by example. You're not just talking about it, you're about it. You're about that life all day. We appreciate your energy. We all taking it in. It's all in the chat. Everybody loving on that energy. Thank you so much. You look amazing. You are right. Up next, you guys, we get to hear from two amazing business owners in our community who have legacy businesses, are continuing family legacies. I am so honored that we get to bring them right here to talk to you guys about the Rudd's Rub initiative. It already has meant phenomenal investment in our community, particularly for Black businesses. I want to welcome Brina Jackson Gandy to the stage, and also Papa number 3, Lewis Rudd. Welcome, both of you. Thank you guys for being here for Africatown, State of Africatown 2022.
I love it. Well, hello, everybody. Thank you, Africatown, 9th annual State of Our Community event. Thank you for having us. I am actually doing double repping for my next few minutes. I'm first starting off with the Elevate Direct Impact Dollars Black Business Grant Initiative that I founded and was the forerunner of what has gone on to now be a new Black Business Grant Initiative, also initiated through the Ezel's Famous Chicken franchise and the Rudd family. So want to just take you all back to 2017. That's when I actually launched the Elevate Empowerment Movement. It was put on my heart to, just as a third generation entrepreneur coming from leaders and community activists, Nat Jackson and daughter of Nat Jackson and Dr. Thelma Jackson, to do something to really galvanize the greater Seattle area that I've lived here since about 1990. There are 4 pillars to the Elevate Empowerment Movement. And one of the pillars is economics and enterprise. And so after 1 year of doing awesome programming, a kickoff event at the Doubletree Suites Hotel in Tukwila with a declaration from the city of Tukwila and packing out the ballroom with Black business owners and Black professionals. We went on to do 11 more events from 2017 to the end of 2019 before COVID hit, culminating with a Black Success Conference at the Northwest African American Museum. Packed that house out in the Norm and Connie Rice room. After 1 year of doing Elevate events, we had built enough trust and reputation in the community. We launched the Elevate Direct Impact Dollars Initiative. I'm private enterprise and businesswoman, third generation all the way. So I didn't want to go the nonprofit route. I said, we have plenty of money running through and moving through the Black community. I'm going to go directly to community members and ask them to contribute to a fund that we will then award back out to Black businesses. We don't need intermediaries. We don't need to go begging money. We have money. So the first year, 2019, we raised over $20,000 from community members, each contributing $350 per household, family, or couple. And we were able to turn around and award to 6 Black-owned businesses $3,000 business grants specifically for their growth and capacity building. And we did not do it at the end of 2020 and 2021 because of COVID. And these funds are specifically for growth, and they are repayable awards. So instead of it being a one-time thing and the pot of money depleted, it's been replenished because everybody had a repayable award. 100% of the businesses repaid their $3,000, no collateral, no credit check, operating in integrity and trust, and knowing that their repayment would fill the pot. So the next year we could then award to some more businesses. Banner Bank got on board, said, we love what you are doing. I said, don't make us jump through any hoops because this money is coming from Black folks for Black folks. So your money is gravy. We appreciate it, but we don't want any strings attached. They said, no strings, great. They added to the pot, wonderful. So for February, we will open it up again next month, 2022, back with the direct impact dollars. Black Business Grant Repayable Award Initiative. And instead of 6 businesses, we now will be awarding to 12. So 100% increase. Each business will be getting $2,750. And keep an eye out for February. We will be making that grant information available, but a new model, a repayable award. And so one of the businesses that I came in contact with over these last couple of years through Urban Impact, their Sharks at the Beach judging panel was Louis Rudd of Ezel's Famous Chicken. And we got acquainted. And when he decided that he wanted to do an initiative through his family and the Ezel's Famous Chicken franchise, he contacted me because of the success of the Direct Impact Dollars Initiative. And my planning team at that time was made up of Theo Martin of Island Soul, Devin Stubblefield of Faith Finance, and Troy Dawson of Reliance Financial. And for this next round, Curtis Calhoun of Black Dot will be on the planning team. So we're so excited to have Curtis. So that is the Direct Impact Dollars update back in February. So keep an eye out. We have hundreds on our mailing list between all the Elevate events we've done and the business training we're doing more and more of. So send me an email. I'll put my email in the chat if you want to be sure you're on the list to find out about the initiative. But Black Dot will be letting you know. Our list will be letting you know. BJ Stewart over at Urban Impact, who's one of our community partners, will be letting you know. So just know we're coming back with more money and twice as many businesses, and so excited. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to, well, back over to Trayana, and then Louis, Mr. Rudd can tell you about the RUB, Raising Up Black Businesses business initiative from this past year. I had the pleasure of being a project manager for that initiative as well. So back to you, Trayana. Thank you all. So excited. Mwah. Love my community, love my people.
Thank you so much, Debrina. Amazing update on Direct Impact Dollars. So glad it's going to be back next month in 2022. Amazing. And kudos to you and the hard work to turn it over and make it double time. Thank you so much. And Mr. Rudd, we are so glad that you are here to give us some insight on Rudd's RUB. This initiative just hit the ground running. So many businesses I know applied, and you really showcased that, hey, Ezel's as a franchise is going to be dedicated to raising up the next legacy Black businesses in our community. Take it away, Mr. Rudd.
Well, thank you, Trayana, and it's an honor to be here. And first thing come to mind is, you know, that saying, dreams to reality, man, that feeling. And to see where Africatown has come to today, from when I remember just conversations about Africatown, and to see where it is today and the impact that it's having in the community is just huge. And thank you for what you do and the rest of the team there at Africatown. And it's an honor to be here again with three of my favorites, you, Triana, and then Debrina and Jennifer Finesse. I love y'all's energy, man. Three women, and I'll tell you, that's doing really good things in the community. But yeah, the Rudd's Rub Initiative, the idea came about as a result of the pandemic had impacted so many Black-owned businesses, small business owners in the community, and I was aware of this. And we were offered an opportunity by DoorDash to do a promotional campaign, and they were going to spend thousands of dollars on that campaign to promote Ezell's. Well, at this time, Ezell's was doing fairly well. In fact, where most businesses were having a problem surviving, we were thriving. So after 3 months of communication with the rep from DoorDash, we were able to divert those funds from doing a promotional campaign for Ezell's to developing and funding this initiative. So the seed money came from DoorDash. They donated $40,000, and we were able to raise an additional, I think maybe $70,000 to go with that. And the goal was to go out, reach out, and support some of those small business owners who were not able to access that capital that was being made available in the community. Well, I should have said, should have been made available to some of those businesses in the community, but was not. They didn't access any of that money. So one or two came to mind that was struggling, and without the support of the grant money, they couldn't pay for their lease equipment in their businesses, and that meant they had no business. So the grant money was able to go out to 20 awardees that they could use those funds to help bridge that gap to success. And so the idea came from the name Rub. When I was a kid growing up, anything that hurt, my parents or grandparents would say, come over here, son, let me rub that for you. Let me put a little rub on it. So Debrina was saying, Louis, you got to come up with an acronym or, for the initiative, something that has a ring to it people would remember. So RUB became that acronym, Raising Up Black Businesses. And so we want to do more of that. And we're gearing up in the second quarter, maybe Q3, to go out and give out more grants and awards. And in the meantime, raising additional funds to go with the ones that we currently have. And being impactful in the community, putting a little rub in the Black community is what we want to do. And right now, that's Debrina maybe to add some more information to that. You're on mute.
Oops.
There we go.
Okay,
I got you.
There we go. Okay, thank you. Well, what I want you all to know is Louis Rudd went out and personally doubled and matched the amount that DoorDash started with. So it started with $50,000, and he went out and raised over $50,000 more dollars from his personal business relationships. And he's a humble man, so he won't tell you that. He'll just say, oh, we went and no, Louis went and raised, because I had to track every single ask and the name of the person, their email address, send them the follow-up information. So we thank you, Mr. Rudd, for drawing on the relational capital that you have developed in your 25 plus years of business on behalf of our Black community and the business owners. So, and he also decided, the family decided they wanted it to be legacy. So instead of a one-time and done, now it will be ongoing because of his forward-thinking actions to go and get some matching dollars. So to our delight, this very first year, and the applications for the grants, $2,500 each, was this past September. And we thought we would get 125 responses, and we thought that was robust for our very first year for the RUB initiative. And we had over 520 applications from Black-owned businesses that came in. And out of those over 500, we had to narrow that down to 20. So this very first year awarded $50,000 in grant dollars, along with our fiscal agent. Tabor 100 is handling the cutting of the checks and the holding of the account, the nonprofit account. And so yes, as Mr. Rudd mentioned, Q2 or Q3, be on the lookout for the next round of the REDS RUB initiative. We're going to be actually doing a contribution part of this. Last year, it was his personal relationships. And so now giving companies, promoting the opportunity for them to be a part of this initiative that's helping the economic development of the Black community and thus the region. So just delighted to get that kind of response. So stay tuned. And again, you will see lots of information on that initiative once it becomes available in Q2 or Q3 for the second cycle. I think I covered everything. Lewis, was there anything else you wanted me to mention on that?
Oh, you did very well, Sabrina.
One more thing I gotta mention, Black Dot was one of, oh my gosh, we gotta mention, Black Dot was one of the awardees. Yay. And we proposed a slightly innovative way that they use their $2,500, that they do 5 micro grants, because they do a lot of programming inside Black Dot and have those devoted businesses showing up week after week for the mastermind groups and the trainings. And so they had 62 businesses respond for those 5 microloans, and they've already made the selection, announced the names. So thank you, Black Dot, for being one of our awardees and finding a way to then bless 5 businesses with that one grant you all were given. So thank you.
Well, thank you both. What a phenomenal effort by both of you, by everyone in community showing up, by those businesses betting on themselves. Again, because now you have a Rolodex of 520 businesses that are Black owned, that are right throughout our Pacific Northwest region, that are saying, hey, know about me, I'm here. And that really is a beautiful nature of when we talk about circulating Black dollars. You guys are really providing opportunities for Black businesses to thrive, to grow, and to be rooted in their community. So thank you guys so much for that presentation, sharing that information to us all. Looking forward to these funding sources hitting our community. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Yes. Amazing as always. I mean, this has just been a great set of presentations from all of our community partners and organizations, those doing the work on the ground. Shout out to everybody who presented today. I'm really excited to be bringing up K.Y. King Garrett, President and CEO of Africatown Community Land Trust. This brother does a lot of work behind the scenes. Y'all will never know how much work he puts in, but I'm so honored to bring him to the stage right now for him to give the State of Africatown. Welcome, K.Y. King Garrett.
All right, thank you. Trayana, I don't know. I think you're one of the hardest working in our community. I mean, you're everywhere. You multiple platforms, and whenever something happens, you show up and you're giving, and we appreciate you. Gratitude to everyone who's been able to join us today for our 9th annual State of Africatown. Originated with Dawn Mason being a part of the previous as mayor transition team, and then wanting her to maybe bring a couple hand-selected people to the table to talk about what Black people need. And she said, no, you should come to the community. And we were able to collaborate, as there was a vision for us to also have a kind of a TED Talk event that highlights our brilliance and our solutions that are in action in our community, because a lot of times we have community forums and there's a lot of venting about the problems, but we're not strategic in applying our genius to bringing about the solutions. And so that's what this was about, and providing opportunity for elected officials and the mayor to be able to then respond, right, to what they have heard and seen that is taking place in our community to move us forward. And it's great to have our new mayor, Bruce Harrell, here with us today. He's been present. He's been on camera the whole time, and he's taking notes. And I know he's very focused on what are we, going to do, because there's a desire to make a great impact. And I also want to just extend gratitude and appreciation to, all of the elders that pour into me, whose shoulders I stand on, and many of us at Africatown, to my father, Omari Tahir Garrett, who really is my a foundation for service in our community, to our board and staff at ACLT, Africatown Community Land Trust, Africatown Center for Education and Innovation, Umoja Fest, the Peace Center, all of the different, entities within the ecosystem, King County Equity Now, because we are, because you are, and that's the reality. And it's because of you that we are here for a 9th year, and that we've been able to come back every year and talk about progress, not play the same broken record, but to say, this is what we said we were going to do last year. This is what we achieved. These were our challenges. And this is what our vision to accomplish for the next year, right? And this is the 9th time we've done that. And every year it's been about what progress we've made and what we need to continue to do to move forward, as we are a part of a journey, as our elder Don Mason highlighted. This is not, we're not new, or this work is not new. We're just new and adding ourselves and our contributions to it. Thank you to all of the amazing presenters that, were just able to give a glimpse of the work that they're doing, because they could take this whole state of Africatown and speak about the work that they're doing. And, it's a hard job to try to condense it into 5 to 7 minutes. But they have really provided an inspiration, and for all of us to see as a community, the fact that we are not powerless. We are very powerful, and many of us are embracing the power, and let that be inspiration for others to get involved with the specific, work that resonates with you, right? And bring your brilliance and bring your energy and bring your resources to that work, so that we can multiply it exponentially to move us from surviving towards thriving. We know that we're a little over a year and some change away from that summer of 2020, where a lot of promises were made, a lot of statements were made through governments, through corporations, through organizations, about a reckoning, about justice, about moving towards equity. And we know that the only way those things are going to move from the rhetoric towards reality is for us to stay vigilant and to keep moving and working and organizing and mobilizing, because the struggle continues. And even, as the election, that very high profile election passed, some of the focus on our community kind of went away, right? Is drifting away. And so it's on us to keep the focus on those issues around, education. We see our children were already being underserved and have been greatly disproportionately impacted. And now they don't even, the little bit of truth that has been introduced into the academy, there's fights to get that out, calling it critical race theory, but really it's just the truth, right? It's just world history. It's just American history about what has happened to bring about the current conditions and predicaments. But some people don't like that. So really, we know that is our responsibility. Not the slides yet. It's our responsibility to make sure our children are educated. And so big salute to everyone doing work in that space. We heard from Sister Bayonne Coleman doing an amazing job decolonizing education unapologetically. We know work is being done with Black Star Line and so many other initiatives in our community, A for Apple Daycare, so many places. And so we honor that work. We see that our political power, our political strength is under attack, after we, showed what can be delivered and what we've been delivering election after election, but yet we still happen to be left behind. And so with all of the talk about building back better, it is imperative that we are focused and making sure that resources are targeted towards building Black better, because we know time after time in America, as things move forward, our communities, our families, our children are being left behind. And it's upon us to make sure that does not happen. And so, it's with that national and I think regional and local context that I am here to and honored to share with you about our review of 2021 and our preview for 2022 as the State of Africatown 2022. So if we could get that first slide, I would appreciate it. All right, next slide, please.
Here you go, White King.
Yes, and so we continue in our work around building a future that honors our past. We reference our past to know what's in us so that we can tap into that resilience, to that genius, to that creativity in terms of addressing our current opportunities and our current challenges as we move forward. Next slide. About 7 years ago, when we looked at the Seattle Comprehensive Plan, we didn't see our community. You know, there's that the question that we're really moving with right now is, are there Black people in the future? And if the answer is yes, then what kind of life do we live? What kind of life do we have? What do we have in that future? And so when we didn't see a future of thriving in the Seattle 2035 Comprehensive Plan, we came together and created the Black Seattle, started our process of planning around Black Seattle 2035 to write a future of thriving into the history for ourselves in advance. Next slide, please. And so we come together and began to imagine, to design, and to build this future that, again, is inspired and powered by the achievements, the greatness, and the lessons of our past in the principle of Sankofa. Next slide. And so Dr. Sharon Sutton and architect Donald King led a studio at the University of Washington around the Midtown Center, the future of Midtown Center, and what would Afrocentric design, what would design look like that actually celebrates and honors our experiences and our presence in the built-of environment look like. And so the students came and they came up with some concepts. And next slide, please. And we began to take those concepts and bring more community around these concepts and build them out through our Imagine Africatown process. What would we want to see in our community inspired by the greatness, again, of our past? Next slide. And so we begin to say, what can we do now temporarily to show what we want to project into the future permanently? And so we took and did an installation to, again, bring these ideas that community had came together around to life. Next slide. And we had brilliant artists such as Melvin Freeman from our community put our images onto the walls, onto the buildings, right? And again, this was temporary. And some people say, well, why would you do something temporary? But it was really about what are we projecting for our future permanently. Next slide. And so now, if you go to 23rd and Union, you see the results of those imaginations, of those visions, of those ideas for the future now present in the permanent structure that is built there. And so you drive by and you see community greats and those who paved the way and helped build the community memorialized there. Next slide. And now we are working to move forward with Africatown Plaza to complete the block. So you saw one side of the block that's built, but our building is not built yet. And so this year, or 2021, we actually closed on our construction financing of $60 million to start and build our building, which was again designed with our community's input around Afrocentric design. And it'll look different from any other building there. It'll be a place of connection, honoring our journey and history and healing, because we know how much pain is associated, the way we've been displaced from the community, the way our community has been destroyed over many decades. And so again, creating a space, and we had an international art call where we have brilliant artists from that are Seattle-based, local greats, nationally, and even all the way around the world into the continent of Africa who submitted. And those artists will then be bringing alive our story and our aspirations and our journey on this site as well. Over almost $500,000 into artists, Black artists, community, into artists' hands, supporting our arts to help make this a place where we come back to. Next slide. Next slide. These are some of the, what the artists, just a sample of what these brilliant artists brought forth for our community that will be present on that site to again inspire us, encourage us, and honor us. Next slide, please. And so we invite you all to join us on February 5th from 12 to 2 for the groundbreaking ceremony. It will be virtual. And so look out for your invitation to join us as we break ground on the Africatown Plaza site, which was where Africatown really was born at the Umoja Peace Center. Next slide. Next slide. And also in 2021, we continued with the work that was established in 2020 to take a site that was going to go into market rate housing that would be unaffordable and continue the displacement of community, and community rallied, led by King County Equity Now. And we were able to close on acquiring that block for $14 million in 2021. And so now Africatown Community Land Trust is the owner of that building. Thank you to all of our community that supported, that raised your voice, that showed up to meetings. It's right across the street from Langston Hughes. And the long-term goal is to put nearly 300 units of affordable housing, again, building on the legacies of Liberty Bank, Africatown Plaza, to again, bring our community back, keep them here, support our businesses and other institutions that we need in the community that need space to stay in the community. Next slide. In the short term, we have activated this building, which was formerly the Cairo Assisted Living Center, serving primarily Japanese elders in the space before they sold the building. And it's activated as Banu Community Home, which is an enhanced shelter program focused on reducing the overrepresentation of African-American men among the population of those who are unsheltered and also underserved, by providing a space for restoration, healing, transformation, and stabilizing their lives to move forward towards their best selves. Banu is an African Kemetic or Egyptian symbol, which derived the phoenix. We're more known as the Greek phoenix, which is a rising, represents rising or rebirth, regeneration, self-creation. And so this is what we want this space to be. It's up. There's nearly 40 community members who are now in this at the space, being served by primarily Black staff, rooted in loving and caring and honoring and respecting the unique collective experiences of Black men in this society that produce these outcomes of overrepresentation. And so we encourage you to rally around and continue to support this process as we create a model that centers the experiences of our community in terms of coming up with responsive, culturally responsive solutions that are more effective in addressing our issues within the houseless population. Next slide. We're continuing to support the development as the developer, Africatown Community Land Trust, the development of Youth Achievement Center, which is led by Community Passageways and Creative Justice, with support from Councilman Gurmai Zahalai, to create a space to take young people out of the school to prison pipeline, and by providing them with housing and supportive services that are culturally responsive on site. And so in 2021, the designs and that process moved forward, and we just learned that the bureaucratic barriers have been removed and the property can be transferred from Sound Transit so that we can then begin to build on this site. So this is something we're excited about for 2022. Next slide. And we know that it's not just about, again, affordable rental space. We have to own. We talk about equity. Equity means ownership, right? And so how do we make it so that our community is not, again, when we're in Seattle in the future, we're not all relegated to subsidized housing in a community where we were owners. And so how do we now make home ownership accessible? And so through partnership with Homestead Community Land Trust, these 10 townhomes just on Yakima Street will be available this year for purchase, prioritizing our community members who have been displaced or at risk of displacement to be able to own. And so, from being outside in the elements, in a tent, in a park, in your car, to be able to come into a new community home, if that's the space, or other spaces, and then maybe get into Liberty Bank Building or Africatown Plaza, but ultimately to become an owner in this community of your residents, of businesses, or being invested in others is the goal when we talk about equity. And so we will also be working on another project, South Walker. We will be working to advance additional home ownership, as we know that there's a lot of resources that go into affordable rental, but not many that go into affordable home ownership. And so many people that work, teachers, firemen, nurses, are not able to afford to live in this city, even though they get up and go to work every day, and they may be working 2 jobs because of the cost of housing is just so high. And so we want to make that accessible and look forward to working with the city and state and county around home ownership in our community, as well as many others. Next slide, please. And when we talk about economic development, last year was the 100th anniversary of the burning of Black Wall Street, which was originally called Little Africa. Many people don't know that it was called Little Africa, but became more prominently known as Black Wall Street in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and was destroyed by an act of terrorism on May 31st and June 1st of 1921. And so we honored that in the many other Black Wall Streets like Rosewood and Durham and all over this country that were destroyed, some by terrorism, some by policies and practices such as urban renewal and federal highway acts and other things of that nature, by creating a Black Wall Street on 23rd in Jackson with over 150 businesses on that day. To show what we, again, imagine for our future. And then we will continue to design and build that into our community through the many great business support initiatives that you heard, the RUB initiative, the DID initiative, Black-owned business excellence, right? So that all of this is working to support thriving Black business district and community. We don't all have to live in the Central District. All of the Pan-Asian community doesn't live in Chinatown, International District, and Little Saigon, but it's still an economic and cultural epicenter for them in this city and in this region. And ours should be honored, and we should have that going forward as well, even with branches of our community all over the county and the region. And so, next slide, please. The vision of Africatown and our cultural innovation zone, which we look to be curated and stewarded through the William Gross Center for Cultural Innovation and Enterprise, which will open this year. This vision that was established and developed 7 years ago, we see it manifesting itself in stages, just like anything. It's a seed, and then it's a sprout, and then it's a little stronger, and then it becomes a tree, and then it becomes an orchard. And so this is the work that we're doing day after day within Africatown ecosystem, within all of the organizations that are, as Honorable Don Mason says, clear thinking and collaborative community. And that's what we have to do. It's not one organization that makes a community. It's not one house that makes a community. It's not one business that makes a community. It's the collective success of many that makes a thriving community. And so we'll continue to work within that context and, through the support of the Black Community Impact Alliance and many others. Next slide, please. And so again, when we talk about the William Gross Center, we talk about education, because before you get to the workforce or you get to a business, right, you have to be educated and have the skills. And so when we think about the William Gross Center and putting our young people on a pathway to have their genius be developed so that they can be sustainable in the local, regional, and global economy that is increasingly knowledge-based. We look at this was an opportunity just recently over winter break where our young people played a game called Minecraft that they like to play and the Central District and Africatown was in the game, and they were able to imagine and design what they want to build in the community, learning about urban planning, learning about Imhotep, learning about the William Gross, learning about their history in a contemporary context, learning about technology careers, architecture careers, you know, all at the same time. And this is what innovation is all about, taking what we have, taking from the past and shaping the future. And so just excited for the doors of the William Gross Center to open in 2022 to serve our community and collaborate with many education institutions that already exist. Next slide. And again, the healing. We know that buildings don't build community. People build community, and we've endured and survived much. And much of that has caused us harm and damages. Some of it we continue. And Dr. Joy Leary highlights this in the post-traumatic slave syndrome. So it's all about us coming back and healing. And part of that is coming together, right? And all of us, someone I just recently said, and I don't remember who it was, but we all have the medicine within us that we need to heal us. And so when we begin to continue to come together as we did at the Liberty Bank building for the reunion on Union, was beautiful, honoring families who have built this community, created the legacies of this community and lifted them up, you know, but we still know that a lot of the pain that we don't have tools to deal with positively still it gets expressed in ways that cause significant harm in our community. And so next slide, we know that there was an incident where bullets were just too close to our babies around the Central District Panthers, which is a long-standing community institution serving our youth and families. The shots were fired around the field, and we had to put out a call, and community, particularly Black men, rallied to come to that space and make it safe. And we want to continue to work with the CDA Panthers so that we can prevent the necessity of those types of responses. But the fact that we can come together and rally in honors of the legacy of their namesake, which is the Black Panther Party Seattle chapter, which was the first outside of California. So again, a legacy that we bring forward and continue in the work that we do today. And even more recently, the unthinkable tragedy that took place at the Liberty Bank building just lets us know that the need for healing in our community is still great. As we build the buildings, we want to make sure that we are focusing on getting the access. As a part of reparations, we have to have access to culturally responsive mental health and wellness. You heard about the Tubman Foundation for Health and the work they're doing. Our distinguished elder of distinction, Reverend Mary Diggs Hobson, and the work that she's been doing for many years around wellness, serving our community. It's far under-resourced. And so again, focusing on making sure that these efforts and the many others, POCANs and so many others that are doing with African American Health Board, the work that many are doing to make sure that we are well and that we can get back to being our best selves is able to move forward. And that is something that we want all to really lean into, you know, in this year. How can we become agents for wellness and healing in our community? How can that go viral the same way this other virus is causing havoc? How can we begin to be carriers and agents again and vessels of healing, tagging each other in, you know, because it has to go through relationships, through trusted relationships, through families and friends, and getting people active and being a part of building the thriving and well community that we all want and that our children deserve, and our ancestors and our elders who established and endured and survived so we can be here, what they deserve. And so this is our work as we go forward into 2022. And again, the healing is critical, the economic development, being able to work through the markets that you saw, the Black Wall Street and many others, to support over 500 Black businesses last year. And over 400 of those supporting them with actual opportunities to do transactions. We weren't just talking about doing businesses, but creating the opportunities for the Black dollar to circulate in our community. Working to remove barriers. So when the Africatown Plaza breaks ground, We have a Black general contractor as a part of the joint venture of a $30 million contract to build the building. And the Black mechanical, electrical, and plumbing contract. These are the big parts of the contract, not the, sweeping, the final clean, the flagging. We're talking about at the beginning of the process, having our contractors there so that we can build them up to scale, so they can build large buildings in our community on their own, so that they can be building. We're talking about an infrastructure package, but we don't have Black contractors of capacity to be able to participate, as billions of dollars are going to flow into the cities of America. These are serious issues that we have to be focused on, and we're working to use our projects, the small projects that we're doing. They seem big because we've been locked out so much, but when we look at the skyscrapers being built downtown, they're not as big, but we'll get there because that is our work. Africatown is looking to put us into the skyline of the future of this city and this region in a significant way, and working with others to do that. And so we will continue to do that work, and we look forward to supporting the work of the Washington Cannabis Alliance, who we respect and honor the work that Jim Buchanan and Daryl Powell and others have done to get the governor to put $125 million into the budget for a social equity program fund. Now, the work is to get half. $1 billion is generated every year by cannabis and taxes, and we know who carried the burden of unjust or a disproportionate criminalization of it, and now are not able to participate in the economic opportunities. And so the real goal is for half of that $1 billion to come into community as a part of reparation and restoration, restorative policy. And so again, continue to support the work so many are doing in our community to build our Africatown. And Africatown is about maintaining and creating and developing and stewarding space where our beauty, our brilliance, and our best can grow and thrive into the future of this community. It's up to us. We have to exercise and get control over the resources that are supposed to impact our lives, and set a new standard for what is appropriate and inappropriate behaviors in our community and to our community. And with that, I thank you for joining us for the State of Africatown 2022, and look forward to building with you into the future of this, making this year greater than the last year. Thank you.
Oh, Ashe, Ashe, Ashe. Oh, I gotta say, everybody is in the chat thanking you, White King, for your efforts. Amazing presentation right there, summing up all of the beautiful work of Africatown. I'm over here trying to keep my emotions in check, because when I see it like that, I go, my gosh, I remember the beginning conversations for some of these projects, and to know that it just takes dedication and work. Kudos to White King, to everybody who's been involved in such a community effort of people stepping up and being engaged in this process. So as I said before, it takes all of you, all of your voices, your time, talent, and treasure to pour into these efforts. Man, thank you so much, KY King Garrett, for that amazing presentation and for setting us off on the right tone to bring in Mayor Bruce Harrell so we can hear Mayor Bruce Harrell's response to this State of Africatown for 2022. Welcome our Mayor of Seattle, Mr. Bruce Harrell.
Thank you so much, Trey. So let me react very shortly and quickly and sweetly by saying, I'm in the city of Seattle's in. I mean, let me tell you what I see. Let me tell you what I hear. Incredible leadership, incredible integrity. Quite candidly, the actualization of dreams that many of us had when we were younger in the Central District and in Seattle. I see Rodney Proctor there with all of the theatrics there. That's my friend for 40 years. He looked like he's mad at me. I haven't even started yet. So a few of my homies on this channel texted me and said, well, Bruce, are you a elder? And I I'm a literal person, so I looked it up, and a few descriptions. This is not given to heavy drinker. Definition of an elder. The Hebrew word for elder means beard. I'm not wearing a beard these days. It says not given to heavy drinking, not violent or quarrelsome or quick-tempered. Enjoys having guests. With Omicron, please. One who exhibits self-control at all times. So I'm not an elder, at least by those traditional standards, because many of you know I'm known to go off when I get riled up. But the work that you all are doing that will undo the effects of what occurred in 1619 in Jamestown, Virginia, many data would suggest, of course, that there were slaves even brought here in North America as early as 1500. So whenever you go back to date the original sin, that this work we're doing is clearly undoing that kind of work. So it's not going to be done overnight. But I am honored and blessed to be the mayor of the city, to be able to work with you collaboratively and collectively to visualize and actualize and invest in the dreams that many people before us could only dream and could only hope and pray for. So I'm honored. Let me go through a few things, because I was taking notes, and White King's dealt with me before he knows that I try to take notes. So I'm going to start off by thanking Trey Holliday and Curtis Calhoun and Don Mason, Curtis and Don, who are elders. I think they got a few years on me. I want the energy, the love. They when they talk about looking at the wealth gap and using education as one of our equity drivers, that's why I hired for the first time in our history a Sister Adia Memory to be our equity officer. And you're going to see a plan this year that is not only supportive of what we talked about on this call, but you're going to see us operationalize it and measure it and make sure that I deliver what you've asked me to deliver. He started singing the National Black Anthem, which, I've been singing my entire life. Many of you know that was originally sung and came to notoriety during Abraham Lincoln's birthday, written by James Weldon Johnson. And that is a song of liberation and affirmation. And so when I hear the vision of Africatown, quite candidly, that's what I believe in: liberation and affirmation of our strong, beautiful community. Reverend Mary Diggs Hobson, the awardee, when she talked about some of the issues she's dealt with in her life, she was indeed inspirational. I don't think you could have chosen a better awardee, so I wanted to give recognition to that outstanding choice. The young scholars who were prepared, I need them to know, I was going to show them that here's this big old picture. I'm into pictures. See how big this picture is? How big that picture is. These are my homies, my brothers and sisters when I was a TT minor. And that's the mayor right there. That's me. They're all in my class, all my friends I grew up with. And I share that picture. I shouldn't have let you see my shirt was untucked. Sorry about that. You could have thought I had a fancy suit on or something. I share that picture saying part of my job has to be to reach out to these young scholars to realize that I stood with a mayor when I was a young man. And I would tell people when I was 18 or 19 or 17 that I wanted to put myself and people around me in positions of power, because I'm not very good at begging. I'm very good at acting and thinking and strategizing and fighting. And that I have to realize that these young scholars that you're investing in recognizing, they will move the needle much more than even myself. So I would have to make myself available to them, to coach them, to inspire them, to give them tools and resources to succeed. But outstanding job at recognizing them. When I heard Martha Lucas speak, the love where she talked about we have to have within our community. I have a job where 750,000 people tell me every day how to do my job. Everyone has an opinion what I'm supposed to do. And I will try to listen to as many people as I can, but I also tell people, don't question my integrity though. Don't question why I do what I do. Nobody controls me. Big business doesn't control me. Someone that could shout louder than me doesn't control me. I answer to a much higher being than I see with the naked eye. And so just assume that I'm trying to make the right decisions. But the love in community is what motivates me. It always has been. And so I was inspired by Sister Lucas's words. And then when I heard Jimmy Buchanan and Darrell Powell we have to get behind what they're doing. Now, both of them, I have pictures 6 feet from me when we were all 8 and 9 and 10 years old. Jimmy's father and his uncles were mentors in our community. We played as children together. And so the work that they're doing in Olympia, you can't question their integrity. They are strong, beautiful people fighting, and they've been fighting their entire life for our community. So I'm trying to see how the city of Seattle could help them. And I'm so blessed we have these legislators. I was scrolling through the 5 screens on here, and I saw these outstanding legislators on here. I'm not going to call them out by name. They know who they are. In fact, at 2 o'clock today, I'm having conference calls with many of them about some of the work that Jimmy and Daryl are doing and some other issues in Olympia that we want to make sure that's done. So I want to give kudos to Jimmy and Daryl, both of whom have signed non-disclosure agreements when I first ran for office, because they have known me since I was 9 or 10 years old, and they got a little dirt on me, but they promised to keep that on the low so I continue to be a brilliant mayor for this city. I hope you guys are laughing. INA, for the Tubman Center for Health and Freedom, beautiful description of health. We have to be healthy. Kids have to be feeling good about themselves, and the blood pressure issues, the diabetes, the hypertension we have to deal with, the untreated trauma that kids walk around with, years and years of being socialized that we are less than. All of that goes into health. So you're going to see a Healthy Seattle initiative we're going to roll out where housing insecurity affects someone's health, right? So we're going to measure our health outcomes in our community and raise the needle. I'm excited about that work. Sister Coleman's Rainier Valley Leadership Academy epitomizes leadership. You can't fake the gift that she has. And so it's going to be my honor to support her and her team and everything that they do. She talked about recycling dollars in our ethnic media into our system.
Oh, Mayor Bruce, I believe we lost your mic.
Against me,
there we go.
I had people going against me and certain opinions and wouldn't even give me an interview to let me give them the time of day. The ethnic media, and I'm not asking that they agree with everything with me or not. I told many of you, I married a strong Black woman from Washington, D.C., and we've been together over 3 decades. I'm still trying to get her to agree with half the stuff I say. So it's not about complete agreement, but it is about making sure our voice is heard. Kudos to Sister Coleman. Isaac Joy is brilliant, and I look forward again. I'm going to come back and talk about he and Y King in a minute, because they're very specific. They're very granular, as they should be. I am blessed again to be in a position of power, and so I extend my hand of partnership with you, and we'll move forward. So I just sort of want the Red Barn Ranch, 37 acres, I have it. He described it as a slam dunk. Well, I did play JV basketball for Garfield. I could touch the net, I couldn't dunk, but if that's a slam dunk, I'm all in. And so we'll talk further about that project. Sister Tugger, Black-owned business. I got to tell you, the first thing I wanted to do in this first month is I'm hiring folks from our community as part of my administration. So when I poached Derek Wheeler-Smith from the county, when I hired Tandy Williams or Adia Memory, or Gerald Hankerson and Davita Briscoe, I'm also seeing some talent on here. So some of you are going to get calls, because that's the best thing I could do is pick superstars from our community and put them in positions of power. Sister Tucker was absolutely brilliant. I managed the largest Black firm in our state, and we were unambiguously strong and talented. And so we would pitch the business by saying, simply give us a chance, because we're better. And we happen to be the largest Black-owned law firm in the state. And so her energy was incredibly unprecedented, and I love it. Lewis Rudd and Sister Jackson Gandy, I got to tell you, they epitomize giving back. They're doing well. They had an opportunity to do even better. But what did they say? It's not about me. It's about my community. So I was incredibly impressed, and I know both of them and the work that they do. And then I wanted to close 2 other thoughts by saying, with Y King Garrett, well, I'm going to follow his lead. It's as simple as that. He did say something, I don't know what the heck, the brother. By the way, Y King, you went over into my time, by the way. I was timing you, brother. I mean, you're enthusiastic about your plan. Your plan is brilliant, but you're cutting into a brother's time. So I'm speaking quickly here. So we're going to go a little slower so I can understand the slideshow, but I get it. I get the vision. and you are showing the kind of brilliance that I have to make sure that I'm a partner with. So I get it. We're going to talk offline about it. The one statement you said the focus seems to be drifting away. I got to tell you, I don't feel that. Perhaps some others. I believe that we are doing this work with laser focus. I've been in a job for 3 weeks. I wasn't going to be on this call only because I was going to be meeting with Sister Marcia Fudge, who many of you know it took Ben Carson's place, the reports to Biden, the housing director. So now we got a chance to get billions of dollars into our community. She was the national president of the Delta Sigma Theta sorority. She hails from Ohio, originally from Ohio. She's in DC now. The Secretary of Housing under Biden. I have her personal number now. I met her a few weeks ago. Dynamite sister, right? And I got to tell you, I'm putting a face on Seattle because she found out I was Greek as well. I'm an Alpha man. And she found that out, and she had people. I wanted to arrest her, but had all these Alphas coming up to me, some Qs, some Sigmas, some other the lesser fraternities. No, I'm just joking, not the lesser. Some other people were coming up to me, and so she's going to come here to Seattle, and I talk about what you all are doing in Seattle, and they're like, "Really?" I'll say, "Oh, I'm going to show you. I'm going to have a reception here for Seattle and tell you that we could figure this stuff out here in Seattle because we have all this wealth around here. We got Amazon and Starbucks and Microsoft." I says, and we got talent here. And I says, and all we need are the right resources. We'll take it from there. So I have the attention of the right people. And that's the only reason there was a possibility I had to miss this, but I didn't go because of Omicron. I didn't go to DC, and we're going to do some stuff in March because that is my job. I have to find the resources. So I'm in on that. And then last I'll say, I want to say this, that I'm into sustainability, and I apologize if sisters like Don Mason and others who I consider family that knew my mother and my father doing this kind of work. That I just ask you this, and I'll close with this, that I'm far from perfect. My heart is clearly in the right place. You could talk to people like Darrell Powell and Jimmy Buchanan that will say, this mayor that we elected, same dude he was when he was 10, 11, 12 years old, fighting for what he believes is right. Perhaps sometimes a little quick to go off on folks, but always from a position of love, always from a position of love. This community has, I'll close with a personal story that when I was at Garfield as a kid, I was playing basketball, I was 12 years old. I was going to Meany at the time, and I was there with a couple of my homies. And some boys around 14, 15, they took our basketball, they took our basketball, they threw the basketball at us, and they bullied us out the gym. And so I had to walk all the way from the Garfield to the 24th and Olive where I was raised, and I was crying. And what made matters worse is my older brother was part of those boys, my own brother, and they were bullying us. And, Jimmy and Darrell weren't part of this group at that particular time. And I walked all the way back, and I said, you know what? I hate bullies. I hate bullies. I hate people that are in positions of power that abuse it. And if I ever become in a positions of power, I will open up my hands and share it. That is in my DNA. That's the little old black Asian boy from the CD that commit to you to make sure that the power that I have, that I open my hands and share it with you. So I'll close with that. And thank you for having me as I shut this blind down and say that, you guys probably, my wife, right, probably surmise that I do clown around a lot, because if we're going to do this work together, I can't walk around my hands balled up all the time. It has to be a sustainable journey of love, and I sense the love on this call. So thank you very much for blessing me with the opportunity to share some words. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mayor Bruce, Harrell. Everybody has been in the chat. I got to say one thing about you, Mayor Harrell. You always are going to make sure that you have those icebreakers in there and that you have the jokes. I'm telling you, every time you weave them in so perfectly. Thank you so much for that response. Looking forward to working alongside you in all of these efforts in community. And really, I'm glad that people are here saying, yes, we have somebody who's listening, who's ready to take on the things that we're doing in community and take it to the next level. So thank you so much for your response. Thank you for being here with us today.
Absolutely.
I have to say, I think that was the best of the 9 years so far.
Yeah.
That has been the best mayoral response that we've had. So thank you, and we look forward to.
Thank you so much. Everyone, thank you so much for being here for the State of Africatown 2020. I want to give a nice big round of applause, everybody in the chat, for all of our presenters today, our young people, our elders, our community organizers and builders, our mentors in business, our amazing people in community. Together, we can get these things done. Thank you so much for showcasing what that looks like, a real collaborative community of excellence. And I'm so grateful to be a part of it. We really appreciate all of you out there watching. For those of you who weren't on the Zoom, you were catching it on the live stream. Thank you so much for watching and for participating in this year's State of Africatown 2022. We're going to be closing up our live stream right now. We're going to